All right, these comments are getting more terse by the moment right now. The president has a lot to say on these developments and not really looking forward to the progress we've seen or lack thereof on trade talks with China or the prospects of anything happening at all with the North Korean leader, if it happens at all. So maybe we'll get the full gist of that when we get the pool spray, which is that moment when every cameraman and his uncle barges into the Oval Office or Roosevelt Room or Cabinet Room, wherever they're going to meet, and just inundates the president. So we'll get that shortly. In the meantime, we've got radio host Ben Kissel and Stand United Org's Angela Morabito. So, Ben, does any of this rattle you a little bit? That, you know, we were going on the express train toward a trade deal with China that looked promising, or not dour, and that the talks were on with the North Koreans for June 12th. Now maybe not. What do you think?
Yeah, Donald Trump has shown his hand before the end of the game here, and I think it's really coming back to hurt him. When it comes to ZTE, the Chinese company, they're a major culprit when it comes to intellectual property theft. Evidently, there's no problem with that any longer, and I think that this is going to come back to hurt the Republicans and hurt Donald Trump in the midterms.
All right, so I'll put you down as a maybe on the prospects there. Are you looking, when you see this right now, as a sign that maybe the president is trying to brace people for a not ideal ending, either on the trade front with China or on the negotiations with the North Koreans?
I think...
I'm sorry, Angela?
That's all right. I think that you're seeing Kim Jong-un use the only bargaining chip he really has left. He said that he doesn't want to trade with Americans. Well, guess what? Who loses from that is the North Korean people. He really can't do much of anything to hurt us, especially now that he's about to dismantle a nuclear site this week. So his only remaining bargaining chip is just to walk away. And it's unfortunate he's threatening to do that. It would also be unfortunate if Trump sort of gave up on the America First concept that he really sold us on and started to take it easy on China, maybe let China get away with some unethical things just for the sake of getting something done with North Korea. It's a little bit like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, when we need to just be going forward. We need Trump to really hold that line and get tough on China.
You know, Ben, one of the things we're getting out of as more details flow out of this meeting that South Korea's President Moon says that he is aware there are skeptical views in the U.S. that the summit will happen and denuclearization will be realized, that he understands people doubt that, but that it will still happen, that the prospects are still good. Right. I think I'm getting the gist of that. What do you think of that?
Well, again, Donald he reeks of desperation right now. And he seemed far too excited for this meeting.
President, left or right, right?
So, no, I understand that, and I think strategic patience was the flawed policy.
Maybe you're just a nasty
I'm not just a hater.
Right.
It is what it is at this point. Kim Jong-un.
You don't know what it is. I'm just giving you flashes off the wires. That's
Neil, let me tell you this. Right now, Kim Jong-un has all of the power because Donald Trump has said how badly he wants to meet with him. He has called for full denuclearization of North Korea.
He has
North
not said he ever wanted to meet with the guy badly. He's often talked about, I want horse to this race here. He has not talked about, high expectations. In fact, quite often he's talked about just up and walking away if it doesn't look promising. So, Angela, let's say it doesn't happen. Now, I'm taking a leap here that's probably not fair or even right. But if it doesn't happen, then what? Would it drive the North Koreans to reassess, come back, or are we back to the cold tensions we had, maybe still had?
I think maybe if the U.S. decides to walk away, that's a huge embarrassment for Kim Jong-un in a country that lives and dies by propaganda. I think, you want to talk about how Trump is going to try to spin this. Look at how Kim Jong-un will spin this. I don't think he has all the power. He's given up several U.S. hostages, people who were held hostage there. Right. He's about to dismantle a nuclear site. He was shaking hands with South Korean President Moon Jae-in on his own turf, and that's something that has not happened until that point in my lifetime. It was absolutely a historic moment. So you see Kim Jong-un taking all these steps.
He sounds like a hater to me.
When it comes to North Korea, Xi Jinping has a lot of power over there. Obviously, in China,
you're talking about the Chinese
President Moon has a lot of power. Kim Jong-un does not need the United States. He will be able to create some trade deals with the Chinese, and I think think that's
Well,
why
he could
we're
have
giving
done
up
that
so
for
much on
years. He
China
could have
right
done
now.
that for decades, just like his
Well,
father and grandfather. And obviously, he
he's
needed
slightly more
enough to
pragmatic.
talk to this guy, right?
But when it comes to Donald Trump right now, when it comes to ZTE, when it comes to somehow being concerned about Chinese jobs, all of that is because he wants to have a relationship with North Korea. And at this point, it's not benefiting us whatsoever.
You know, Ben,
I think
I will tell you this. You're a very good man, I think. But if this were Barack Obama and he was on the cusp of talks with the North Korean leader, you would be so 180 degrees different.
Well, I don't think that that's
yes,
true.
you
And also,
would.
we wouldn't
Oh,
be talking
yes,
about a
you
Nobel
would.
Peace Prize.
Yes,
He already
you
would have had
would.
one.
Yes,
That's
you
not,
would.
Neil, that's...
Oh, really?
You don't know that, Neil?
Really?
You don't-
Zip it. All right. Guys, thank you both.
Thank you.
I wanted a mature ending to this because I didn't like the way it was going.